Hi, Bill DiVane here, class of 1960 from Fenwick High School, and I'm happy to be here again at the Torch, and I want to thank everybody who's been so supportive this year and over the years.
And I'm Bob Cooney, class of 1970. I echo Bill's sentiments. It's great to have you out here, some for the first time and some every year. So thanks for being here.
Well, we had a wonderful, wonderful class of people. We've had a lot of people who've been very supportive of Fenwick over the years. And we still have a large group that gets together every Christmas. We have a Christmas lunch, and we still get about 40 to 50 people from class of 60 at our Christmas lunch. So it's a wonderful, wonderful group of people.
And the class of 70 had a lot of people, obviously, from St. Giles and St. Catherine and so forth. We had a great class as well. I still count among my best friends in life people from the class of 1970. Well, I say this not to be boastful because I think we had 276 graduating seniors, and I was close to 276. But we did have 23 National Merit semifinalists in the class of 70, which people tell me is the highest number percentage-wise of National Merit semifinalists since they started keeping records, whenever that was. As I said, a lot of those people are guys that I pal around with all the time to this day. Most of the people I know either went to St. Giles and or Fenwick, and that remains true today.
Some of my most memorable teachers here at Fenwick were Father Wren, Father Regan, and of course Father Reardon, who was Dean of Discipline when I was here. So we remember him well.
Some of my teachers that I remember very well include Father Wren, Mr. Fennell, and of course Mr. Polka, whom I call Coach Polka.
One thing I always remember, my first day, my first class was Father Wren, and he was quite animated and theatrical, as I think everybody remembers. And I remember thinking, well, this is going to be a lot different than the nuns that I had for 8 years. This might be a little more fun than the nuns. So I did enjoy Father Wren very much. He was a very enjoyable teacher and friend.
Well, my father, of course, came to Fenwick and graduated in the great class of 1941 with a lot of legendary people, including Bill Cullerton and others. And our kids went to Fenwick as well. And one thing they told me when they went to college was they felt that they were probably better prepared for college than most of the people in their class because of what they learned at Fenwick, and I feel the same way.
Well, I think the big thing that they are going to realize, as Bob mentioned, the fact that they are going to be so much more prepared than most of their peers when they get into the college environment. I was very satisfied with my Fenwick education when I reached college because I was well prepared ahead of most of the people that I was dealing with. So it's very important, I think, that they care of that and that they remember Fenwick as we do, fondly.
And not that anybody would need any advice from me, but one thing I would tell a graduating senior is miss nothing when you get to college. You're only going to be there for 4 years. Make the most of it. If you're a football player, don't hang around with just football players. Hang around with musicians, artists, and if you're an artist or a musician, hang around with cross-country runners or basketball players. Don't lock yourself into a clique of people for 4 years when you're in college.
One of the great lessons Father Regan taught junior religion, and he gave a marriage course. He gave Catholic marriage course. And he always said, you should marry a girl who will help you go to heaven. And I am very fortunate that I am now married to a girl that is very wonderful, wonderful, and is helping me get to heaven in spite of myself. And the other side of it is, too, she is also the stepdaughter of the Fenwick legend, Dan O'Brien. So I am Fenwick in many, many ways. Well, I was studying very hard, sure. I think, is what.
Objection, Your Honor.
That's well, that you know. See, he probably looked up my grade point average or something. But no, I was involved in basketball. I played basketball for 3 years and had a wonderful time here. But just the whole experience was a wonderful, wonderful thing.
So I was lucky enough to be part of Coach John Polka's very first cross-country team at Fenwick, which began in the fall of 1966 and continued under his leadership for almost 50 straight years. So I was not good, but I was very interested in running, and we had a very good team. In fact, my sophomore year, due to no thanks to me, we actually won the Catholic League Championship in John Polka's second year at Fenwick. Our first captain, Pat Quinn, later became, of course, the governor of the state of Illinois, and there were some people that both before my year and after my year who became very, very good runners in college. And I actually ran in college as well. Once again, not too, very mediocre at best. But I did enjoy running, and I still run to this day. And I actually have to, I think, credit my time here at Fenwick under Coach Polka with instilling at least some lifelong interest in keeping reasonably fit.
I always promised I'd never tell this story, but Father Bernacki, God bless him, is gone now, so I can tell he was the principal, and it was very difficult times here at Fenwick, and Tom McCormick was the chairman of the board, and we had to get involved in some difficult decisions with Father Bernacki and cutting back people and doing some riffing and making a lot of cuts just to hopefully survive, but we still weren't quite there. But he always said, well, there's a lady down the street who's going to leave her home to Fenwick. And he says, it's got to be worth $200,000-$300,000. And he says, that's about what we're going to be short. So I said, well, that'd be nice. And one day I got a call from Father Bernacki. And he said, she died. She died. I said, oh, God. I never, I told him I'd never tell the story, but he did say that she died because that got him off the hook for some very difficult decision that he was going to have to make. And we had Jack Guerin real quick get on, sell the place. We got the money, and it helped us carry through the end of the fiscal year. And it was very much in need at the time.
I was on the board actually probably almost 20 years after Bill served. But in the meantime, my wife, Loretta, was on the board during the so-called golden age of the board. So I have to mention Tim Rooney, Pat Kelly, Walter Morrissey, Ray Wicklander, all those guys, who in the let's say early 2000s and beyond were in charge. And so my time was beginning roughly around 2010.
We had quite a bit of fun with that, as I remember, over cocktails at Oak Park Country Club. Of course, Mark Laudadio was obviously, and I'm sorry he's not with us this year, he was obviously very instrumental in pulling the whole thing together and getting it started, and we were just kind of along for the ride in a way. But we did have to put some foots down because Mark got very enthusiastic on certain things, as I remember. I remember he had an idea. He wanted a clown in a barrel on the 10th hole. And we just kept saying no clown and no barrel. We're not. People are paying a lot of money to come play golf. They don't want to hit the clown in the barrel. So we kind of put our foot down on that one, I remember. And there was no clown in the barrel. So it was, but other than that, he did a marvelous job starting it out and getting everything ready. And again, I think he is owed a deep vote of gratitude for being involved in it and helping it get started.
Well, Bill has a great memory, and he also has great sentiments because he's absolutely right. Laudadio really started this. He invited us up to Oak Park Country Club, and over a Scotch and a Guinness, and I think Laudadio, believe it or not, was on the dry. And Bill nailed it because Mark kept coming up with all these what he thought were wonderful ideas about what we were going to do, about the clown, about this, that, and the other thing. And all Bill and I looked at each each other. We just had another sip of Guinness or Scotch and said, no, that's not going to happen. What else you got? And every idea he came up with, we put a stop to. Thank God.
Thank God.
But he did listen to one thing, and that was we wanted to make this, number one, fun. We wanted to make it the kind of event where people actually look forward to coming back the next year. And we also wanted to make sure that it didn't take 6 hours to play golf.
That's right. Well, I think they realize that they owe something back. We all got a great deal out of Fenwick. And I think if people are able to, and obviously the people that attend the Torch are in a position to be a contributor to Fenwick, and I think it's a great idea. It brings them closer and keeps them involved with Fenwick. And I think that's one of the most important things we can do through an event like the Torch, is keep people involved and keep it number one on their priority list.
You know, the fact is, we all probably play enough golf, maybe too much golf. But the point of this is not to play golf. It's to, number one, raise some money for kids who are not playing golf at Oak Park Country Club or at Butterfield or at Ruth Lake or any of the other great venues that we've been privileged enough to play at. So I think everybody is mindful of that, and that's why they come. They come because they want to support Fenwick and they want to have a good time, and I think we achieve both goals.
Well, I think Fenwick always has done that. Even when I was here, there were many people from the west side, and at that time people were not as fortunate as others. I mean, there were people here who were very fortunate. There were others who weren't. And Fenwick was still able to do for them, to bring them up and bring them up to the next level and help them in their advancement to college and in their careers and everything else. So I think passing the torch is a very appropriate name for this event.
I think all of us, Bill and I certainly included, are the beneficiaries of what went on before we got here. As I said before, you know, my father went here, and you know, if it weren't for people in his class and the classes like his that came back and contributed their time, their talent, and their treasure to this wonderful place, this education wouldn't be possible for everybody. So I think we are, you know, we've both received the torch, and we're hopefully passing the torch on to the next group of people who will run this place. When Bill and I stood up in the balcony and complained about how things were run very well when we were in charge, and now it's gone
into the basket, as we say. Well, big thank you. I think that's the biggest word to all the attendees. It's a wonderful thing, and I hope it just keeps continuing and growing. What it's going to do for the young people here, I think, is the most important thing we can do, is give them the help that they need to be able to be here.
It has been a great 10 years being part of the Torch, and I'm sure neither Bill nor I look at this as honoring us. We were there at the beginning, and you know, and it's turned out to be very, I think, helpful for our students here who are the beneficiaries of the donors who come every year and support it. So it's great to be here, have fun, and come back next year.
No clowns.
No clowns.